We'll be reading today from Canto 5, Chapter 5, Text 1. And then we'll be reading some of the story about Purushottam month here. I'm a little concerned about my voice. Would you mind just grabbing my waters right there? Right there, if you wouldn't mind. Screw it. Thank you. I appreciate that. You're very kind. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Very nice girl. I keep on losing my voice and then getting it back and losing it. I need to just stop singing for a little while, I think. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha Kalasanji Radha Kalasanji Shri Radhe. Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada. Shri Shri Radhamadava Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Gaura Pramanande. Hari Hari Bol. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narotamam Divyam Sarasvatam Visyam Tato Jaya Mudirayet Nasta Prayashaya Breshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamasoke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistaki Om Nigantimaranda, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 5, Text 1. Rishabhuvacha Niyam Deho Deya Bhajanam Niroke Nayam Deho Deya Bhajam Niroke Gashtan Kamane Arhate Vid Bhujamaye Gashtan Kaman Marate Vid Bhujamaye Tapo Divyam Putrakayena Satvam Tapo Devam Putrakayena Satvam Sadyad Yashmad Brahma Sukayam Tva Anatam Nayam Deo Deha Bhajam Nuroke Kashtan Kaman Harate Vid Bhujame Tapo Divyam Putrakayena Satvam Sadyadi Yashmad Brahma Sakyayam Tva Anatam. Please chant. Rushabha Uvacha Nayam Deho Behadvajamanoke Kashtan Kamena Tapo Divam Putrakayena Satvam Sedya Deshmad Brahma Sukayam Tvanatam Rishabha Uvacha Nayam Deho Deha Bhajamanurloke Kashtan Kaman Harete Vidbhujamye Tapo Devam Putrakayena Satvam Sudhyade Yashmad Brahma Sukyam Tva Anatam. Rishabha Uvacha. Lord Rishabhadev said, Na, not, Ayam, this, Dihaya, Dehaya, body, Diha Bhajam, of all living entities who have accepted material bodies. Nirloke, in this world, Kashtan, troublesome, Kaman, sense gratification, Aryate, deserves, Vit Bhujam, of stool eaters, yea, which, Tapa, austerities and penances, Divyam, divine, Putraka, my dear sons, Yena, by which, Sattvam, the heart, Sadyate, Sadyayet, Sudyat, becomes purified. Yasmat, from which, Brahma Sukyam, spiritual happiness. 2, certainly, Anantam, unending. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Lord Rishabhadev told his sons, my dear boys, of all the living entities who have accepted material bodies in this world, one who has been awarded this human form should not work hard day and night simply for sense gratification, which is available even for dogs and hogs that eat stool. One should engage in penance and austerities to attain the divine position of devotional service. By such activity, one's heart is purified, and when one attains this position, he attains eternal, blissful life, which is transcendental to material happiness, and which continues forever. Please repeat. Lord Rishabhadev told his sons, my dear boys, of all the living entities who have accepted material bodies in this world, one who has been awarded this human form should not work hard day and night simply for sense gratification, which is available even for dogs and hogs that eat stool. One should engage in penance and austerities to attain the divine position of devotional service. By such activities, one's heart is purified, and when one attains this position, he attains eternal, blissful life, which is transcendental material happiness, and which continues forever. There's a microphone right there. Jayahari Prabhu, would you mind reading this first paragraph of the purport?
In this verse, Lord Rishabhadev tells his sons about the importance of human life. The word dehabhak refers to anyone who accepts a material body. But the living entity who is awarded the human form must act differently from animals. Animals like dogs and hogs enjoy sense gratification by eating stool. After undergoing severe hardships all day, human beings are trying to enjoy themselves at night by eating, drinking, having sex, and sleeping. At the same time, they have to properly defend themselves. However, this is not human civilization. Human life means voluntarily practicing suffering for the advancement of spiritual life. There is, of course, suffering in the lives of animals and plants, which are suffering due to their past misdeeds. However, human beings should voluntarily accept suffering in the form of austerities and penances in order to attain the divine life. After attaining the divine life, one can enjoy happiness eternally. After all, every living entity is trying to enjoy happiness, but as long as one is engaged in the material body, he has to suffer different kinds of misery. A higher sense is present in the human form. We should act according to superior advice in order to attain eternal happiness and go back to Godhead.
So, the difference between animal life and human life. We both have in common eating, mating, defending, and sleeping, right? But the human life, we are given intelligence. It says in the Srimad Bhagavatam that the human life is meant for the inquiring of the absolute truth. And so if we don't do this, if we don't inquire into the absolute truth, then we're no better than animals. So we shouldn't waste this life by just being like animals. We should use our intelligence to start to do, to understand the Supreme Person and engage in penance, our tapasya. It says that human beings should voluntarily accept suffering in the form of austerities and penance in order to attain the divine life. Wow, that sounds really hard, right? But Srila Prabhupada is so kind that for the devotees of the Krishna consciousness movement, what austerities does that mean? Oh, we have to eat, dance, and sing. Oh my gosh. Oh, you know. Okay, we should get up early and chant Hare Krishna. And that's a little tough at first. But over some time, once we start to get used to it, we start to feel the change in the heart. We start to feel that, oh, it does give me so much happiness to get up early and chant my rounds nicely. Even if it's just at first that, wow, I actually get my runs down with with a little bit more attentiveness, you know? I don't have so many things going on. I know for me, I'm a householder, so, you know, my kids might be asking me questions, my wife might be asking questions. Anyways, work starts to come and things start to happen. So our service, but that's okay, because that's our service also, right? In Krishna consciousness, Bhakti Yoga, that we're doing these things in the service of Krishna. However, we can't forget, we can't misunderstand that by waking up early and performing austerities in the Brahma Muhurta hour, that there isn't such a great gain in it. And so this month, Purushottam month, is as asking us to take on some more austerities and penances. So we can, before I go there though, actually let's read the next paragraph, please. If somebody wouldn't mind. Sorry, I don't know how to... The devotees know how to make it bigger and stuff. I don't know how to exactly do that. Oh, here we go. Here we go. I've made it bigger.
It is significant in this verse that the government and the natural guardian, the father, should educate subordinates and raise them to Krishna consciousness. Devoid of Krishna consciousness, every living being suffers in this cycle of birth and death perpetually. To relieve them from this bondage and enable them to become blissful and happy, Bhakti Yoga should be taught. A foolish civilization neglects to teach people how to rise to the platform of Bhakti Yoga. Without Krishna consciousness, a person is no better than a hog or a dog. The instructions of Rishabhadeva are very essential at the present moment. People are being educated and trained to work very hard for sense gratification, and there is no sublime aim in life. A man travels to earn his livelihood, leaving home early in the morning, catching a local train, and being packed in a compartment. He has to stand for an hour or two in order to reach his place of business. Then again he takes a bus to get to the office. At the office he works hard from 9 to 5, then he takes 2 or 3 hours to return home. After eating he has sex and goes to sleep. For all this hardship, his only happiness is a little sex. Yan maituni griya medi sukam, itu jam. Rishabhadev clearly states that human life is not meant for this kind of existence, which is enjoyed even by dogs and hogs. Indeed, Dogs and hogs do not have to work so hard for sex. A human being should try to live in a different way and should not try to imitate dogs and hogs. The alternative is mentioned. Human life is meant for tapasya, austerity and penance. By tapasya, one can get out of the material clutches. When one is situated in Krishna consciousness, devotional service, his happiness is guaranteed eternally. By taking to bhakti yoga, devotional service, one's existence is purified. The living entity is seeking happiness life after life, but he can make a solution to all his problems simply by practicing bhakti yoga. Then, he immediately becomes eligible to return home, back to Godhead, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 4:9. Janma karma chaname jivam evam yovedi tatpata takvadeham punar janma naitimam eti sorjuna. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna.
Om Began Timran Shak Salakaya Takturam Tasma Shi Gurve Namaha. So we're reading in our systematic reading of Srimad Bhagavatam, going through Canto 2 right now. We're hearing about Lord Brahma, and Lord Brahma, after he appeared on the lotus flower that's come from the navel of Mahavishnu, he awakes and everything is completely dark. And not knowing what to do, he starts to meditate. And while meditating, he hears the two syllables which make up the word tapasya. And so, therefore, he starts to perform tapasya, and after sometimes, Lord Krishna comes and meets Lord Brahma. He actually shakes his hand. He says, "Congratulations. By your tapasya, now you've been able to see me." Similarly, Srila Prabhupada says here, we should act according to superior advice in order to attain eternal happiness and go back to Godhead. So similarly, we are inquiring from the spiritual master. That is our meditation. And he's giving us instructions. He's giving us our tapasya. And so Srila Prabhupada and our initiating spiritual masters, if you're not initiated by Srila Prabhupada, are giving us this austerity of chanting 16 rounds and four regular principles. And by just doing these things, that everything within the heart will awaken. All answers will be revealed. It's just by this sound vibration, just from hearing it from the spiritual master and then repeating it. And it's quite amazing. You think about it, that we're so fortunate that our spiritual master and Srila Prabhupada, we're so fortunate that Srila Prabhupada has given us this process. Srila Prabhupada mentions in the second chapter that the foolish civilization neglects to teach people how to rise to the platform of bhakti yoga. And it's such a disservice, because if people understand bhakti yoga, they can still perform their duties. We're not trying to take anything away from people. We're not saying don't go to your office, don't go to your job, don't raise your family, don't do these things and stuff. We're saying, Srila Prabhupada is teaching that, no, do these austerities, but do them for the sake of Krishna's pleasure. And it becomes bhakti yoga. At least if we're not doing it purely, at least it becomes some karma yoga, right? We get some benefit in that way, you know. So really, it's such a disservice that our government and our nation, our world, is not teaching this bhakti yoga, because it really can keep people from being better than hogs and dogs. I was thinking, the reason why I chose this verse is because of the Purushottam month that has started. And it says that anyone who performs austerities in this month, they actually get 1,000 times more benefit than that normally. And yesterday, I heard somebody say, what is this? What is this thousand? You know, we hear about these multipliers, right? And it's kind of interesting. Like, why is it multiplying, and what's it? And I actually started meditating on this. You know, like 1,000 times this time, and I was thinking, you know, I don't say to my kids or my wife that on this day I'll give you 1,000 times more. I'll reciprocate 1,000 times more than normal, or my heart will open up 1,000 times more than normal from this, you know, from this reciprocation. So my point, what I'm trying to make is that Krishna is a person, right? So what does this mean to that Krishna is giving us 1,000 times more benefit than normal? And I heard from a lecture that it was a Codicy, actually, and they were explaining that Krishna is so kind that at sometimes he decides to make himself more vulnerable than normal. What does vulnerable mean? Does anybody have any thoughts about what vulnerable means? Vulnerable.
I would say vulnerable means to expose the true self.
To express the true self?
Well, it's more like expose, because
expose the true self.
Because I think, because like the word exposure is kind of like saying, you know, I think people are normally guarded, right? People are normally guarded, and so it has to do with like expressing the true identity, and but it's more of like giving, like I want to give this truth of myself, and without any pretense, right?
Yeah, very very nice. I was also thinking that like sometimes at our birthday, right? During our birthday, do we make ourselves more, you know, the day of our birth, we do a birthday party. Are we making ourselves more vulnerable? We have a choice, right? We could say, you know what, I don't want to go to my birthday party. I just want to be by myself. But we come and people celebrate us, and they're so kind. They give us gifts, and they might tell stories about us and this stuff. So, as Jai Hari was saying, Prabhu was saying, Jai Hari Prabhu was saying, is that we're opening up to let people know about our true selves. So the reason why I was, yes, do we have a definition? Okay.
Okay, so it says susceptibility to attack or injury, the state of condition of being weak or poorly defended.
Say that one more time.
Susceptibility to attack or injury,
Wow.
the state of condition of being weak or poorly defended.
Oh, being weak or poorly defended. So you ever go to your birthday party or some celebration and you feel very shy? It's like a lot of people feel like this when they go to an event where they're going to be glorified in some way. They get very shy because you're opening yourself up. You know, you're allowing yourself to for people to reciprocate with you, to show love towards you, and you have a choice. You have the choice to either not go, or you can be stone-faced and not even accept those things. You know, people might say them and stuff, but in the heart, you kind of just like build up this wall, and I don't accept it, right? So what I'm trying to say is that from what I was hearing from this lecture that Krishna is making himself more vulnerable at some points. And so that vulnerability is, we have a choice. Are we going to hurt Krishna, or are we going to show him that we love him? You know? So at these times when Krishna is giving us 1,000 times or this more benefit. What really can understand it is that Krishna's opening himself up to reciprocate in a relationship more than normal. And the example of the birthday is to kind of understand that we do this also sometimes. Sometimes during anniversary dates, we open ourselves up and we start to share more than normal. We start to reciprocate in the 6 loving exchanges, right? And so it's really quite amazing that Krishna is willing to do this, that he's willing to say, you know what, and sometimes I'm willing to grow this relationship, I'm willing to hear from you, I'm willing to reciprocate with you, and even more than normal. And that's what the understanding of Krishna giving us, quote unquote, 1,000 times more, or 10 times more, or this or that more. Because as devotees, Krishna is a person. It's not some calculation, it's not math, it's not some kind of thing of, oh, if I do this, then I'll get. So if I give $1 to the temple this year, this month, then it's actually like I'm giving $1,000. Ha 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 ha! Wow, amazing. Okay, I'm not saying that those thoughts might not come in, but behind it is the point of that Krishna is willing to reciprocate at this time that much more with me. So we take advantage of that. Not taking advantage of it in a bad way. We're taking advantage of it because Krishna's opening up to us and is willing to do it. He's making himself vulnerable. So in this month, or any time, but this month where you can see that the devotees, like this morning in Mangala Arti, there was probably like 20 people. It was pretty amazing, And I was thinking, oh, why is there so many people here? And Purushottam month's starting. I hope everybody does it all month. That would be really cool, So as Srila Prabhupada says in this purport, we can voluntarily take up austerities and penances in the desire to please Krishna. And in this month, Krishna is making himself even more available. And so what is it you can maybe try to say, I'm going to try to do this more. I'm going to attempt this devotional service more this month. And then try to carry it on. So then next year, you can add, not just go back to the same one that you did. It's like when people, the New Year's, I'm going to lose 10 pounds. They work really hard and say they lose that 10 pounds in the first month. But then the next 11 months, they put the weight back on. And then you know what they do the first of the year? They say, I'm going to lose 10 pounds. So then they're doing the same activity. However, if they kept that 10 pounds off or decided to lose more weight, the next year they could say, they could give themselves another, New Year's resolution. It wouldn't just be the same one. So similarly, we can take up some penance, austerities, and we can try to maintain it throughout the whole entire year. And so in the next actually 3 years, it won't be dealt. The next Purushottam month, we can even take up more austerities. Any thoughts?
Hare Krishna.
Yes. Hare Krishna.
I like the idea of taking up austerities to please Krishna.
Say it?
I like the idea of taking up austerities to please Krishna. Yeah. But then I was thinking about like losing weight because I'm always trying myself to do that.
Yeah.
And so it's okay. I just wanted to share a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So like, I used to try to purposely do it, and then it wasn't happening. But then when I started coming to Mangala Arti, somehow it like naturally happened, and I realized, oh yeah, breakfast isn't until 9. So sometimes, so I guess my story is that my motivation is to please Krishna. And then it kind of like, that's when it took care of itself. Whereas when I was trying to do it for myself, it never happened. Yeah.
A wonderful point. I've also noticed this in Krishna consciousness. Sometimes when I push everything that's like little off to the side and start to focus on the things that are really important, that things that I wanted in the past just kind of naturally happen. Like, I wanted to, I kind of wanted to save some money. It would be nice not to have my bank account at zero all the time. Okay, and I naturally start to focus on Krishna consciousness, eating nicer, or cooking nicer, so that I could offer to Krishna. Then my grocery bill doesn't get so much. I don't run over to the store for candy as much. Anyway, so many different things. I'm not going to the cinemas as much, and all of a sudden I have a little bit of extra money to put it in the bank and then have a little bit of buffer, which makes myself and my wife feel much more secure. And when you feel secure and you have that peace in mind, it really often helps you to perform devotional service with more peace of mind. Mind's always trying to irritate us, right? So if it has if you're giving it good excuses, then it can sometimes be pretty tough, right? Oh my gosh, how are we going to pay the bills? How are we going to blah blah blah? But if we can take care of it nicely and not have those things that are bothering us, then it becomes a little bit easier to practice Krishna consciousness. So we shouldn't neglect things. However, if we're in the forefront is our devotional service, those things often happen naturally, are not as difficult, that's for sure. Right? Yeah? Any other comments or questions, thoughts?
That was actually what you said reminded me of a verse in Bhagavad Gita about that Krishna will always carry what we lack and preserve what we have. So all we do is we take one step towards him and he takes like 1,000 steps towards us, right? And then if we are practicing, then he like takes care of the person practicing.
Yeah, very nice. I was thinking that Srila Prabhupada, he says, living in tea is seeking happiness life after life, but he can make a solution to all his problems simply by practicing bhakti yoga. Then he immediately becomes eligible to return home, back to Godhead, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 4.9. Sometimes it's fun when you're reading Srila Prabhupada's purports and he gives you another verse to read it. Let's see what Srila Prabhupada says in 4.9. So we'll just go to his translation. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving his body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. Purport: the Lord's descent from his transcendental abode is already explained in the 6th verse. 4.9. One who can understand the truth of his appearance of the personality of God is already liberated from material bondage, and therefore he returns to the kingdom of God immediately after quitting his present material body. Such liberation of the living entity from the material bondage is not at all easy. The impersonalists and yogis attain liberation after only much trouble and many, many births. Even then, the liberation they achieve, merging to the impersonal Brahmajyoti of the Lord, is only partial. And there is a risk of returning to the material world, but the devotee, simply by understanding the transcendental nature of the body and the activities of the Lord, attains the abode of the Lord after ending this body and does not run risk of returning to this material world. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated that the Lord has many, many forms and incarnations. Advaitam, Achutam, Anandam, Anantarupam. Although there are many transcendental forms of the Lord, they are still one and the same supreme personality of Godhead. One who understands this fact and conviction, although it is incomprehensible to mundane scholars and imperial philosophers, is stated in the Vedas. Purja Bodhin Upanishad. Iko Devo Nityam Lila Nurukato. Bhakta Vapi Hirde Anantir Atma. It's interesting because we were just reading chapter 4 in one of my classes that we were doing on transcendental knowledge, and we were understanding that transcendental knowledge is so powerful because we do activities. The soul must act. In this world is made in such a way that one must work. So the transcendental knowledge of understanding that our activities are meant to please the Supreme Person, let us act in such a way that it starts to unbind us from this material world. And so the activities of a devotee and a non-devotee can look exactly the same. So the penances, the austerities that we perform, going to work, raising our children, so many different things, going to our 9 to 5, they can look like the same exact thing. But the devotee, because of his transcendental knowledge of Krishna, his birth, his form, his name, then those activities perpetuate him towards Krishna and allow him to develop that relationship that we were talking about before. Especially when Krishna is making himself vulnerable, they even get more of an opportunity. Okay, we've got 8:20. So any questions? Wow, my voice just went really high. Any questions?
What are the austerities that we can perform during Purushottama Mas?
Right here, it says Lord Krishna continued. This is the story of the Purushottam month. So, is anybody, I don't know the story so well, but are we all familiar kind of like what happened, what the Purushottam month is about?
No, where is this story? Where is this from?
Mayapur.com. If you look up Purushottam month, ISKCON, this will come up. So really, it's quite long. I read about half of it. It's really nice. And so it's explaining that that in the lunar calendar, which is made up of 355 days, there's 10 extra days every year. In our calendar that we use, I don't know what it's called, but anyways, our calendar is 365 days. So in the lunar calendar with 10 days, every 3 years there's an extra 30 days. So this month is called Purushottam month. And so, but it was, at one point it wasn't called Purushottam month. It was, I can't remember what the name. It didn't even have a name. What was it? Adhik Mas. Oh, thank you. So, I'm sensing that you know the story well. So please, anything that I'm off, please let me know. So, this month was at first known to be very inauspicious. Said that people looked at it like hogs and dogs, like very, very, very inauspicious. And the personality of this month was feeling so bad because she was known as so inauspicious. So feeling bad, she went to Vishnu for shelter. And he said, okay. He said, okay, stop crying. He says, okay, I'll take you to Krishna. So he takes her to Krishna and to Goloka and Vrindavan, actually. And there, she tells Krishna, she's crying. She says, I'm not, nobody loves me. Everybody hates me. He says, okay. He said, not only will you be known as, no longer be known for inauspiciousness, now you'll be known for being very auspicious. And so he gives the boon that anybody who does penance during this time gets 1,000 times more benefit. And actually this has to do with Krishna telling the Pandavas about the story. Krishna tells them about, because the Pandavas their question is, why are we going through so many austerity? Why are we going through so many difficulties? And Krishna says, well, you didn't observe Purushottam month. So then he explains the story of it. So here it's explained, there's 4 things that we can do There's actually, if you look more into it, there's like a lot of things you can do. But here are 4 simple things. Worshipping me. Oh, okay, let's read this. Lord Sri Krishna continued. How can a person make his life successful unless he performs devotional service in this Purushottam month? A person who is fully engaged in sense gratification and does not give any special importance to this sacred month becomes the best candidate for hell. Uh-oh. All human beings should perform such devotional service in this Purushottam month by daily worshipping me, Sri Krishna, by chanting my holy names. Check. Woo, yeah. Study of Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. Yes. Giving in charity. Okay. One thing I mean, I'm not, anyways, maybe I'm bragging, maybe I'm not, whatever. But one thing that I found easy is every Ekadasi I try to it kind of reminds me to give a little charity. So that's the time that I go, okay, here, give a little charity. And you get a little extra benefit, I guess, giving charity on those months. So anyways, if you're interested in giving charity, it's nice sometimes to have a little system in your head about when you do it. Anyways, so yeah. Offering ghee lamp or dipya each. It doesn't say month, by daily offering a ghee lamp. So I was wondering here is we do during Damodar month, we do the ghee lamps here and stuff, but we don't do it during this Purushottam month. So I was wondering if we live in the holy Dham, do we get the benefit because Krishna is being offered every day ghee lamp? I was kind of hoping I was thinking maybe I could do that service of doing a lamp every day to my own deities. But then I was hoping that maybe I'd get the benefit every day of just being in the general premises. I've heard that before, that sometimes you, just by living in the holy Dham, the worship that's going on, you get part of that benefit too. But don't take me for quoting to say, Nanda Braja said I don't have to offer a ghee lamp every day. Okay, no. don't do that. You got to do your own study on whether that's okay or not. Yes, Prabhu.
Wouldn't it be okay just to bring our own ghee lamps here and just offer it to Radhakala Chandji from inside the temple?
You know what? I'm not the authority on this, but I know that people bring, food stuffs, boga to offer to the Lord and stuff. I'd be very surprised if you brought a ghee lamp and were offering it to Krishna, that anybody would be upset. But Mother Chandravali could definitely approve that.
I mean, yeah, because that's the process with Damodar. It's all done from the temple.
For sure. So here's 4 things. Basically, 2 of them, if we're following, Srila Prabhupada's process of waking up and chanting and going to Srimad Bhagavatam, we got 2 of those. Check. Now, if you're a person who regularly gives charity each month, it says daily. Oh no, we better go get some $1 bills. Who's with me? We're going to the bank and getting $31 bills. And every day we'll just put a $1 bill in the dakshina. And we can daily offer some charity.
Give your kids to the handi.
What's that?
You can offer your kids to the handi.
My kids? Each day?
They can always stay.
Yeah, and Krishna gives them back. And they're purified. And then it's like offering to the Ganges. You're offering that which is already Krishna's. Anyways, I'm being silly. That's okay. 3 minutes. Any questions? Any thoughts? No?
Well, actually, if it's okay, somebody did send me a list of things to do during this month.
Oh, yeah? Like,
Would
when you asked that question?
When
you asked that question?
Well, I asked a question because that's different than what I had. So I wanted to hear that one. But is it okay if I share the list?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah.
As long as it doesn't make me feel too bad, because I'm not going to do so many of them. No, just kidding.
Okay, so it said you can worship Sri Sri Radha Shyam Sundar, photo or deity. And it said, and this is kind of like a hardcore list, so I mean it's not like it's not possible for everyone. I don't even know where to get a lotus. Daily offer lotus, roses, tulsi leaves for the whole month, and pure ghee lamp daily. And then it says, hearing Hari Katha every day, read Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 14, Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 15, Krishna book, Vraj Leelas, and Gopis meet the Lord at Kirk, etc. Singing bhajans every day, Sri Jagannath Ashtakam, Sri Nandanandastakam, Sri Gora Gra Ganya Purushastakam, Jai Radha Madhava, Jai Krishna Pranamore, and other songs and prayers about Sri Sri Radhika Sham. And then it says, how to observe Purushottama Mas. Daily offer artik and perform parikrama around Tulsi Devi. Daily perform parikrama around the temple at least 4 times. Fasting till noon, how to observe Purushottama Mas. Another one is fasting till noon or after sunset of 4 kinds. 1, only milk. 2, eat only fruits, no milk or veg. Eat full meal only once a day. No grains, selected veg, fruits, and nuts and milk. Or number 4, selected foods, all categories as per Chaturmas standards. And then also, one more optional activity to observe Purushottama Mas would be to sleep on the floor, eat on leaf plates, sitting on the floor, no cutting hair or nails.
Yeah. I just remember that. Wow. Okay. So if you want to take it to the next level, there you go. There's the list. So today we talked about Canto 5, Chapter 5, Text 1. And Rishabh Dev is telling his sons to take on, to be more than just animals. The human life is meant for austerity and penances. And so, through austerities and penances, our relationship with Krishna is developed even more. We get transcendental knowledge from the spiritual master who gives us the austerities and penances that we should perform and takes us back home. And that Krishna is making himself more available during these certain times, celebrated times. For instance, this month of Purushottam month. And so we're encouraging people to take up some austerity, maybe take up a little bit, at least maintain your austerities and maybe take up some more austerities. And Krishna will be very pleased. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Pramanande Hari Hari Bo. Oh, praise the Sri.